In 2025, we're surrounded by digital convenience. You can pull up a movie on your phone in seconds, stream your favorite show in 4K from just about anywhere, and even ask your smart assistant to pick up right where you left off. But for home theater enthusiasts who are building or upgrading a dedicated media room, the debate between physical media and digital content is more alive than ever. We actually hear this question a lot from our customers. Is it still worth investing in a Blu-ray player? Is physical media dying out? Or has streaming gotten good enough to make the switch completely? And what about systems like Kaleidescape that promise Blu-ray quality and beyond with digital convenience? Well, if you're building a home theater and want the absolute best in video and audio performance, this decision matters more than it might seem. So let's break down everything that you need to know based on current tech, trends, and firsthand experience from our team installing home theaters across the country every single week. So to put it simply, both physical and digital media have their place, but they serve different needs. And depending on how serious you are about your viewing and listening experience, the right answer could look very different from someone else's. So let's first start with what most people are using today, which is streaming. There's no denying it's the most popular way to consume content. From Netflix and Disney Plus to Apple TV and Amazon Prime, nearly every major studio and network now offers high-resolution streaming content. And a lot of it looks pretty good, especially on newer displays. Most now even feature HDR, Dolby Atmos, and the picture quality is much better than it was even just 5 or 10 years ago. But here's the thing, no matter how good your TV is or how fast your internet connection might be, streaming is still compressed. That's not a knock on streaming services if they've done an impressive job balancing quality with accessibility, but it's important to understand what you're really getting. Take 4K video, for example. A typical 4K Blu-ray disc delivers video at bit rates around 50 megabits per second. That's a lot of data, far more than what most streaming platforms are capable of even delivering. Netflix 4K content might top out around 15 megabits per second under ideal conditions, and it's more likely under 10 megabits per second in a lot of other situations. That's less than a third of what's on the disc. But what does that actually mean in practice? Well, in bright scenes with minimal movement, maybe not much. But in fast-paced action sequences, scenes with smoke or fog or shadows or complex textures like rain or sand, compression can become really noticeable. You may see artifacts, soft detail, or banding and gradients where the disc holds together just beautifully. Now, for some people, that difference might be negligible. On a 55-inch living room TV, it might actually be hard to spot the shortcomings of streaming unless you're sitting really close or you're really just looking for them. But in a dedicated home theater on a 100-inch screen or a calibrated OLED TV, it's a whole different story. The gap widens, and that's where physical media really shines. And we haven't even talked about the sound yet. Audio is where streaming services still have the biggest gap to close. While they often support Dolby Atmos or 5.1 surround, it's typically delivered using Dolby Digital Plus, a compressed format that was designed for bandwidth efficiency, not sonic purity. It sounds fine on a TV or a basic soundbar, but it really lacks the depth and dynamics and the detail that a full home theater system can actually deliver. Most streaming services deliver at around 0.5 megabits per second for their audio tracks. Compare that to Blu-ray or 4K UHD discs, where lossless formats like Dolby True HD or DTS HD Master Audio can deliver audio at around 4 to 6 megabits per second, sometimes even higher for complex mixes. And Kaleidescape, which we'll talk more about next, actually downloads its audio tracks at a similar level, often around 6 megabits per second as well, maintaining full fidelity sound with no streaming compression artifacts. That's more than 10 times the data being sent to your speakers. And that extra information actually translates to real improvements in what you hear. You get more dynamic range, you get cleaner, more intelligible dialogue, a more enveloping soundstage. And if you've got a full Dolby Atmos setup with overhead speakers, you'll hear a clear difference in how the object-based audio just moves through space. So whether it's raindrops above your head, the swell of a movie score, or the deep rumble of thunder rolling across your room, these mixes just sound so much better. Now, this is especially important if you've already invested in high-performance audio gear. You didn't spend time designing a sound-treated room and dialing in speaker placement just to settle for a lossy audio track that doesn't sound that good. And you definitely didn't buy a high-end receiver or separates just to feed them some compressed sound. If you want your system to perform the way it was designed to, the quality of the source matters, and audio is where it really shows. Now, moving on, something that many people might overlook next is that owning movies on a disc doesn't have to be expensive. In fact, it's actually often the opposite. A quality 4K Blu-ray player doesn't cost much these days, and you can get a solid, reliable model for a pretty good price. If you're building out a home theater, that's a pretty small investment compared to the price of your projector, your screen, receiver, or speaker system. And it unlocks the full potential of everything that you've built and put together. Now, as for discs themselves, buying a 4K Blu-ray is often the same price or even cheaper than buying a digital copy from Apple, Amazon, or another service. And when you buy the disc, you usually get the digital copy bundled in anyways. Plus, there's a massive secondhand market where you can usually find great deals. Now, it's also worth noting that physical media gives you ownership. When you buy a Blu-ray, it's yours. No one can remove it from your library, change the version, or suddenly make it unavailable. But with streaming, movies come and go all the time. Licensing deals expire, titles vanish out without warning, sometimes even digital purchases can be removed from platforms if the rights change. Discs, on the other hand, are a permanent part of your collection. You can watch them anytime with no internet required and without worrying about availability. So what it really comes down to is that streaming is all about instant gratification. It's fast, it's easy, and it's everywhere. But when you want to sit down and experience a movie in its highest possible quality, picture that looks like it was straight pulled from the studio master, and the sound that takes full advantage of your theater that you put together, streaming just can't deliver at the level of a 4K Blu-ray just yet. Now, let's shift gears for a second and talk about Kaleidescape that I mentioned earlier. If you're not familiar, Kaleidescape is a premium movie server platform that lets you purchase and download movies at higher than Blu-ray quality and store them locally for instant playback. There's no buffering, no bandwidth concerns, and no disc loading. You get the ease of digital access with the uncompromised quality of physical media. Their files can have higher bit rates and retain every bit of the studio master, complete with lossless Dolby Atmos or DTS:X soundtracks. So for people building high-end theaters or media rooms, Kaleidescape is often the ultimate solution. It's super fast, it's intuitive, and it fits seamlessly into home automation systems. You can browse your collection by cover art, create watch lists, and even script playback sequences that lower the lights and drop the projector screen automatically when you hit play. It's designed for movie lovers who want the best experience possible with zero compromises. Of course, all of that does come at a price. Kaleidescape systems start in the thousands of dollars and require you to purchase movies through their platform. If you already have a large physical library, there are also options to purchase those movies from their platform at a discount. However, we realize that this might not be the right fit for everyone. But for those of you who want the best of both worlds, physical media quality with digital convenience, it's really hard to beat a Kaleidescape. Now, some people might ask here, if you already own a PlayStation 5 or an Xbox Series X, can you just use that for Blu-rays instead of a Blu-ray player? Well, the answer is yes, but to a point. Both consoles support 4K UHD discs, but with a few caveats. The PS5, for instance, doesn't support Dolby Vision for physical media, and Xbox does support Dolby Vision for streaming, but not for disc. Also, you'll need to make sure you turn off ALLM on your PS5 and any other game modes on your gaming console. You'll get HDR10, but not necessarily the full range of what a dedicated player can deliver. And from a usability standpoint, standalone players tend to be quieter, they load faster, and they just offer better disc navigation. So if you're serious about building a Blu-ray collection, we usually recommend getting a dedicated 4K Blu-ray player instead of using your gaming console. There are some really great options from Panasonic, Sony, and Magnetar that offer full HDR and advanced audio output. But here's the thing that we always end up coming back to. Not everyone needs to go all in on physical media. Streaming still plays a huge role in modern home theaters, and for good reason. It's how most people watch the majority of their content, and the quality has really come a long way. On a solid fiber internet connection with a good streaming box like an Apple TV 4K or Nvidia Shield, you should get pretty impressive picture quality, especially for some casual viewing. If you're watching a new show on Netflix or catching up on a sitcom with friends, streaming is just perfect. It's fast, it's easy, gives you access to a massive library of content for just a flat monthly fee. But when you want to sit down in your home theater for movie night, and you want to experience every detail of the cinematography, you want to hear every subtle sound in the mix, and feel your seat rumble during an explosion, that's when it pays to have a physical disc, or even better, a high bitrate download from Kaleidescape. That's when quality really matters most. So here at Audio Advice, we see a lot of customers taking a hybrid approach, and we think that gets you the best of both worlds. You should use streaming for everyday watching, and then build a physical or a Kaleidescape library for your favorite films, your reference titles, and your demo material. When you invest in a high-performance display, projector, and speaker system, giving it the best source material is the next logical step. It's like fueling a race race car with premium gas. You want to give your system what it needs to perform at its best. So whether you go physical or digital, or a mix of both, the key is understanding the trade-offs. Streaming offers convenience and quantity, physical media delivers consistency and quality, and Kaleidescape gives you the pinnacle if your budget allows for it. But no matter which route you choose, the most important thing is to get the experience that brings you joy every time you hit play. Now, if you ever need help finding the right gear to build or upgrade your system, or you're not sure where to start with your movie source setup, our team is here to help. We love diving into the details and helping people get the most out of their home theaters. Because at the end of the day, it's not just about technology, it's about the experience. Now, if you don't know where to start, you should check out our Home Theater Central at audioadvice.com. We have our free home theater design tool, which is a great place to start. You can place everything in that room and it shows you exactly where you should put it. Now, if you like this video, please consider giving it a thumbs up, hitting the subscribe button, and turning on the notifications so you don't miss out on any of our latest content. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.